I think architects have always gone through the process of drawing, and I've always drawn. So I start projects with a pencil and paper. It might be quite a simple drawing to start with. It might just be the plan. But then there's something happens in the brain. It sort of encourages your creative thinking, and ideas start to flow. Well, the sketchbooks actually provide a wonderful memory bank, and certainly on a project like the gas holders. The first sketch was in 2002, and I'm still drawing now. It's got more refined, but the same idea runs through. And of course, having the drawings in a book means that I can refer back, and I remember to some extent what I was thinking of when I did the first sketch. I'm interested in geometry, in architecture and in paintings. Quite often I'm involved with sort of angular lines, angular forms. And this comes out in the architecture when it's appropriate. But with the painting, one's completely free, so you can do what you like. With the Maggie Centre, it was a very clear idea from the start, really, that we'd make use of the trees on the site and try and fit the building in amongst the trees. And because of the level change, it's quite a slope of about 4 meters across the site, it meant that if you came in at the pavement or road level on a flat bridge, you'd be sitting high up in the trees, and so the idea for the treehouse was fairly obvious. My first drawings were very much related to the section of the building, and also then how one could fit the plan in amongst the trees without damaging them. I like trying to capture the concept, and that means drawing something which is beginning to take shape. A free-ish concept drawing is hard to beat. I think I know when we've cracked it, and that the drawing that shows that concept is usually what we build. Well, the Mary Rose was a very complex project. It came down to a very simple diagram with the Mary Rose in its current position and seated in a large sort of ship hall. That was the concept. And we would have the people enjoying the space between the actual hull and the virtual hull. And that concept helped us to describe what we were trying to achieve. I tend to use these pencils. It's a Pentel. And what I like about it is that it's easy to control and it's always the same thickness. But I really like to use watercolour. Not in thick colour, but I use it more as a wash. And I find it's a wonderful way of drawing attention to part of the sketch by just putting a blob of colour on it. I've got a couple of drawings which I did recently on a Airbus A330. So I was sitting in the middle of this brand new plane, and I was drawing this project in New York, and I felt I was getting somewhere, you know. I draw on anything actually, and I find I'm a little bit rude really in that if I go to a concert I quite often sketch on the program. It's a sort of, it's not that I'm not concentrating, it's just that I see something that interests me, and I like to get it down on paper. I think people think of me as a technical person. I'm always associated with technical architecture, mainly because I started off in the high-tech movement with Foster and Rogers. I worked there for for many years. So it was only when I started on my own that I had a chance to think about what was important to me. When I'm drawing what I see, I'm not really thinking of myself as an architect. I'm just an observer. Things capture my imagination, same with everyone. And it's buildings and forms and unusual relationships, maybe spaces. I like to capture the sort of atmosphere of the place with a few lines as possible. Design is always thought of as magic, really. It's like, and that the architect pulls the design out of the hat like a rabbit. But actually, of course, you have to have a process that you work through that you know will reach a good conclusion. I suppose over the years I feel fairly confident in the process, and it generally starts with drawing.